Guess what? Bungie and Activision have split up! Finally. It's been bloody ages. Anyway, greetings YouTube. I usually start my videos with that. I wasn't aware of this until just now. Apparently this happened yesterday. Yeah, Bungie and Activision have split up, and apparently Bungie are going to keep hold of Destiny and Activision is going elsewhere. Goodbye and good riddance. Yeah, I know. Most of the gaming community, as in the people who actually play the games, are thinking the same thing as me, that this is awesome news. Some people are a bit more, what's the word? A bit more pessimistic, perhaps. Thing is, Bungie is responsible for creating games. They're the developer. And they program the actual games. Obviously, Destiny 2 is the big game that they collaborated on. Well, not recently, but you know what I mean. But Bungie programmed the game. Activision is the publisher, and they're the ones that fund the game. They're the ones that bring the big money that allow the game to look and sound as good as it is. Never mind the fact that the game is, or at least it was at release. I haven't played it since it released. Since I did my review of it, I haven't bothered with it. It just didn't hold my attention. Does anybody remember the good old days? The Bungie good old days, obviously. I'm not talking about Activision. Remember the good old days with Halo? I know that they were with Microsoft back then, but God damn it, I miss those days. It's hard to know how much of Destiny 2's and Destiny, seriously Destiny, how much of those games' problems were Bungie's fault and Activision's fault. Because as I say, Bungie actually makes the game, but Activision holds the purse strings, which gives them quite a lot of leverage over what happens. So, and we were never privy to the deal between the two. Because Activision never owned Bungie. This was a contract that they entered into. Unlike between Bungie and Microsoft, Microsoft actually owned Bungie at one point. That was different. But now they've split up and Bungie is going to be taking Destiny with them. Which is interesting because, it has raked in a stupid amount of money. But even now, I would be curious to see what the contract between those two look like. Because how much control did one side have or the other? How much? Where was the money divvied up? Did Activision insist that money was spent on this instead of that? We don't know. I'd love to know those details. Basically, I'd love to know who to blame for Destiny. So, yeah, I'm thrilled at this news because obviously Bungie used to do Halo. Then they partnered with Activision and Destiny happened and it was like, nah. I'm hoping that now Bungie is back on its own. They'll go back to doing something awesome. Because I know that publishers bring in lots of money for a game developer. I know that. But they are not, strictly speaking, necessary. They're not. Because, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. There was a developer, there was no publisher. That was an entirely self-funded game by the developer. No extra publisher intervention, no one telling them what they can or can't do, any of that kind of thing. And if you go back a bit further, games like Axiom Verge, one guy, Thomas Happ, I believe his name was, programmed and created just by one guy, was that. And go back again into gaming, I don't know if it was before or after Axiom Verge, but Dust, an Elysian Tale. Again, it was programmed, created by one guy. Well, apart from the music and the voice actors. The music was done by someone else, I think, on Dust. And the voice actors were different people. But programming, animation, Dust and Elysian Tale, one guy. Again. So, I don't accept that games need a publisher. So the fact that Bungie has split with Activision and has now lost the money, the big bucks that, you know, make Bungie games look and sound awesome, which they do. They always look amazing, and they have full orchestral music, you know, all that kind of expensive stuff. You don't need it. Over Christmas, I just recently played Iconoclasts, because it was a freebie on PlayStation Plus. Originally, it released in January, back at the beginning of 2018. Iconoclasts only cost 16 quid from the PlayStation Store. It's 10 hours it took me to go through. And it was an awesome game. That game had more character and story than Destiny 2 did, as far as I'm concerned, or at least the base game of Destiny 2 at launch. I haven't bought any of the DLC. As I say, I haven't bothered with it since it launched, or since I did a review of it. It just didn't hold my interest. Iconoclast held my interest right throughout. You don't need a publisher. It helps, but you don't need it. So I'm thrilled. I don't know what Bungie has in store next. I know they have some funding for a non-Destiny related game. I don't know what it is though. But yeah, thrilled. Apparently when the news was announced, I'm just gonna scroll down here. Apparently when the news was announced, the employees were told at a meeting, and apparently they cheered and popped champagne, which apparently they did when they split from Microsoft as well. So obviously they like being independent. But yeah, I think this is great for them. They'll finally be able to, fingers crossed, they'll have their independence and they'll find their creativity again. Because me, along with everybody else in the gaming community, well, pretty much everybody, we're all assuming that Activision was holding them back. And it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, because Activision puts out the same bloody game every year. It's called Call of Duty. I don't care which iteration it is, it's the same. I played the original Black Ops to death, or at least until I couldn't put up with it anymore. Got to Prestige Rank 1. I did a Let's Look video of Black Ops 3. I did a review of Black Ops 4. It doesn't bloody change. It's well done, is Black Ops. It's well engineered. It just doesn't do much for me. It's just the same thing every time. And Black Ops 4 dropped the story and brought in, you know, Clusterfuck Royale. But that's a different story entirely. I'm very off. Sorry, I do that. I love the fact that Bungie have done this. The split are apparently it was an amiable split. So Bungie will get its independence and hopefully its creativity back. And Activision, I'm presuming, wants to cut its losses. I'm presuming. I don't know the reason for the split. Because this was originally billed, when the original Destiny came out, this was billed as a 10-year project. And everyone was assuming the original Destiny would be 10 years, and then they announced Destiny 2. Well, what happened to the 10-year plan that you had? I don't know if the whole thing was part of a 10-year plan. I doubt it. It's been 8 years the contract has been going. So, obviously, apparently neither party was happy. So, I suspect, you know, what with Activision putting out Black Ops 4... And what was it? In the first 3 days, Black Ops 4 made $750 million. And it was branded by Activision as a disappointment. If only we could all have disappointing days like that. I'd love a disappointing day like that. $750 million, a disappointment. How fucking rich do you have to be for that to be a disappointment? Anyway. Yeah, I know Activision isn't the only one hyping up its own, you know, its own games beyond all reasonable expectations. I know they're not the only one, but yeah, that was ridiculous, was that? But anyway, obviously Destiny didn't live up to Activision's expectations, and Bungie wanted its independence back. Well, they cheered. According to one employee who was there, they were cheering and popping champagne. So would I. But I'm not the cheering type and I haven't got any champagne, so what are you going to do? Anyway, I think I'm just about done. I shall scroll down through here. Yeah, it's something about what I was saying before. Bungie also has a brand new game in development thanks to a $100 million investment from NetEase. Don't know what it is though. And they'll continue to support Destiny apparently and Destiny 2. They'll keep on putting out content for it, but Activision is out of the picture now. It'll just be Bungie doing it. One can only hope that they have enough funding to keep Destiny going and continue to do their new projects. Otherwise that might be a bit tricky. But you don't need a publisher. You don't. Well, unless you want the high level graphics and sound. Then you might need them. Okay, I'm done ranting now. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe and share all that jazz. See you next time.